High humidity can make the outdoors feel even warmer than the temperature indicates. It's called the heat index. According to the American Academy of Pediatricians, a heat index over 90 can be troublesome for children who may not know why they're starting to feel bad. Anything over 110 is hazardous. Pediatrician Dr. Joanna Dolgoff says to watch for signs like sluggishness, cool, clammy skin, and muscle cramps, all possible signs of heat exhaustion.
Any of these symptoms, just get them out of the heat into a cool setting. Once you get to the point of dizziness and fainting, that's when you're going to seek medical attention right away.
At the playground or ballpark.
He's a little fussier, I think.
Make sure there's water and shade nearby. It takes time to acclimate to the heat. It's only June, so these early heat waves can be difficult for parents and children. In Southwest Atlanta, Jerry Carnes, 11 Alive News.
And it can also be difficult for those experiencing homelessness. And there are ways now being offered to keep them safe in this heat, from cooling centers to housing. Several options here to help them cool off, as tomorrow we could see a record high temperature of 100 degrees. The city of Atlanta telling us a cooling center will open up tomorrow through Friday at the old MLK Natatorium on Boulevard Northeast. Water and light snacks will be available for anyone cooling off at the center. And in DeKalb County, most recreation centers and libraries will serve as cooling centers during these ongoing heat advisories. The county's Human Services Department will also be open during the week from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. You can also get into the pools across DeKalb County for free for about 2 hours, 2 to 4 p.m. DeKalb also offering seniors assistance through the county hotline, and for its homeless population, temporary housing in hotels and motels. For more information on all of these resources, head on over to 11alive.com.
Well, the summer solstice occurred earlier today, and that means it is the first official day of summer. Now, as meteorologists, we classify summer beginning on June 1st, but this is the first official beginning there with the solstice. And, you know, it was really warm out there today. Our high temperature for today is 95, and that is the current temperature. And you can see here, looking down on downtown, we have some blue sky mixed in with just a few clouds, a little bit of haze out there. That's because of that smog alert that we have in effect, a little bit of a breeze in Rome right now, as you can see the flags blowing a little bit, but just a few high thin clouds out there. Not enough moisture though, even with this hot air, to bubble up any of those pop-up showers or storms. And that returns later in the week when the humidity levels rise again. Take a look at that air quality alert for not only today, but also a new one is issued for tomorrow for all of the metro area, where we will have enough heating and stagnant air to build up some ground level ozone. Particulate matter is also a factor in this air, with just some small particulate matter there that gives it that hazy look. And that means, being a code orange, it's unhealthy for sensitive groups. So if you have breathing issues that are enhanced by that buildup of ground level ozone, you definitely want to limit your time outdoors, especially late afternoon into the early evening when we get that buildup of that ozone out there. And right now, 95 degrees, that is our highest temperature so far for the day. We're close to 100 in Athens, where it's 98 there, and just a few degrees away from 100 in Rome, where it's 97. But here's the deal. We don't have the humidity levels like we had last week. So this 95 feels like 95. That 98 in Athens feels like 98, rather than the heat index that would take it up into the triple digits. Now this evening, it stays warm. We think we'll be in the mid 80s at least through 7 o'clock, and then down to around 87 at 9. And then, if you want to call that falling, those temperatures going back down into the lower 70s once we get toward tomorrow morning. Now here's a look at the forecast track taking us in through the day tomorrow. It'll be a mild start at 70. Some areas in the outlying areas may start off in the 60s. That's thanks to that lower humidity, allowing those morning temperatures to come down a little bit. But look how fast we rise tomorrow. By the lunchtime hour tomorrow, we are already up to 94 degrees here in Atlanta, and then moving up to, I think we'll hit 100 tomorrow. This model's saying 99, but it looks like we will hit that triple digit, and then again, slow to cool off tomorrow night. So just an 8 on the wazometer tomorrow, low of 70, high of 100. At least the humidity levels will still be on the lower end, but once we get into Thursday and Friday, the humidity levels start coming up, so that 98 you see on Thursday will actually feel like it's higher than 100. 95 on Friday most likely will feel like it's higher than 100. Then Rain chances coming in, 30% chance for showers Saturday, just that afternoon and evening variety. Then a 20% chance for showers Sunday and Monday in the mid-90s. We could cool down to the upper 80s, we're thinking, by next Tuesday.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. All new at 5, a teen faces 140 years in prison after a jury found her guilty of manslaughter and gang charges in a shooting that killed a woman.
But her family argues the sentence is excessive for a teenager who wasn't convicted of murder. They told our Joe Ripley they're fighting for a new trial now.
Family stands outside the Gwinnett County Justice Center demanding justice and freedom for Demia Mitchell. The 18-year-old learned this month she will spend the next 140 years in prison.
You're saying you will never see the daylight ever again in your life. They want my baby to die in jail for something that's false and bogus.
Court documents I obtained today show a jury found Mitchell guilty on a dozen charges, including voluntary manslaughter, aggravated assault, and gang charges.
These gang charges, those were just chumped up charges, false charges they put on my child. She's not affiliated with gang members. She's not in a gang.
Warrants state Mitchell was associated with the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods, a criminal street gang. Prosecutors argued Mitchell and 4 others got into a fight with people at a home on Mountain Ash Court in Gwinnett County in February 2021. The argument ended with gunfire and Faith Burns was killed. 11 Alive reached out to Burns' family to get their reaction to Mitchell's sentence, but did not hear back.
And that's the tragedy about these events, that 2 lives are generally lost in these cases, and 2 families are dealing with tragedies and suffering.
Thaddeus Johnson, a criminal justice expert at Georgia State University, says when young women commit crimes against what he calls traditional gender norms, they tend to receive harsher punishments than men.
How can we trust the system if they roll like this?
Mitchell's family claims the trial was mishandled, and now they're exercising every legal option they can.
A new trial, a new something. I want it to be overturned.
Court officials tell me the other 4 defendants in this case pleaded guilty earlier today in connection with this case. As for their sentencing, that will come at a later date. In Gwinnett County, Joe Ripley, 11 Alive News.
President Joe Biden facing new pressure to press pause on the federal gas tax. He says he could make a decision by the end of the week. So here's how that could impact you. Right now, the average price for a gallon of gas in Georgia is about $4.46. The federal gas tax is more than 18 cents a gallon. So if the tax is suspended, you would be paying about $4.28 per gallon. The White House says President Biden is also thinking about a gas rebate card to help bring down those prices. Well, it's time to check your mail because if you own a home in Fulton County, a property tax assessment is coming your way. Now, it's not a bill, it's just to get an idea of how much you'll owe. But the county says be ready for your property tax to go up because of surges in the real estate market. You do have a chance to appeal the notice. The deadline for that is August 1st. Is it possible that millions of doses of the COVID-19 vaccine have just been thrown out? We'll verify for you in just 2 minutes.
Storms are rolling in.
Expect storms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck.
A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our
20 million more children can now get vaccinated against COVID-19. Many pharmacies and healthcare providers are receiving the first round of doses for children 6 months to 5 years old. Pfizer-BioNTech's 3-dose regimen and Moderna's 2-dose regimen have been approved by the CDC, but there are some slight differences that doctors want you to be aware of. For example, Moderna's age limit is 5 years old, while Pfizer's is 4. Moderna also uses a 2-dose series, while Pfizer uses a 3-dose series. With that being said, experts say both vaccines are extremely safe and effective and will not interfere with other immunizations. Now, when the COVID vaccine was first released, many distributors went to very great lengths to ensure that all the doses were used during that period of such high demand.
I remember that. Brandon Lewis from our Verify team looks into claims that since then, millions of doses have gone to waste.
Since the COVID-19 vaccines became publicly available, American vaccine distribution sites have received nearly 690 million doses nationwide. Verify viewer Christy emailed us to ask about a claim she saw circulating that 82 million doses have ended up in the trash. So, let's verify. Have more than 82 million COVID-19 vaccine doses been thrown out?
Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the World Health Organization, and CVS Pharmacy.
Every dose of the COVID-19 vaccine is tracked in a CDC database. The CDC confirms to Verify that between December 2020 and May 2022, vaccination sites received more than 687 million doses. And as of June 9th, they discarded 87 million doses. So, yes, more than 82 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been thrown out. This is because CDC guidelines require that when a vial of the vaccine is opened, which can contain up to 15 doses, it must be used within 2 to 12 hours of opening. So if there aren't enough waiting recipients, the leftover doses get thrown out. CVS, the nation's largest pharmacy, administered about 1 in every 10 doses in the U.S. and reported throwing out nearly 13 million doses. If you tally up all the vaccination sites across the country, about 12% of all doses ended up in the garbage. While that may seem high, the World Health Organization says it's actually in line with their projections for large-scale vaccination campaigns involving multi-dose vials. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
And if you see something online you want us to verify, send us an email. You can also text the word verify to the number on your screen. It is 404-885-7600. It is hot out there, so if you need to stay hydrated, do so. If you're spending any time outside ahead at 5:30, the best ways to pre-hydrate before stepping outdoors.
Plus, as gun violence is rising across the country, tonight a group is encouraging you to ask about guns in the home before allowing your children to go inside. We're talking about how to have that difficult conversation. Neighborhood is now.
You stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow. Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, Sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners. The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck.
Believe it or not, today is the first day of summer, and we are certainly already feeling that heat out there.
Yeah, long before today. Hot conditions continuing throughout the rest of the week, and we could hit record highs. We're talking possible triple digits tomorrow. And if we do hit 100 degrees, it will be the first time since August 2019. Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb will be back in about 3 minutes to tell us more about all the hot temperatures he's tracking. In the meantime, remember to stay hydrated and check those back seats if you're caring for any kids.
The nation continues to wait patiently for a decision, or maybe not so patiently, from the nation's highest court. Any day now, the Supreme Court could issue a decision that may overturn Roe v. Wade, ending a woman's constitutional right to an abortion. Many states, including Georgia, already have laws in place that would restrict or ban the procedure as soon as the ruling comes down.
And we're a little over 90 minutes away from the polls closing across Georgia. And here are some of the big races we're keeping a close eye on for you tonight. The Democratic runoff for Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, plus Labor Commissioner, Insurance Commissioner, as well as several congressional races for the 6th, 7th, and 10th districts. And tonight we're joined by Dr. Andra Gillespie, Emory University political science professor, and our 11 Alive political expert. So let's bring in Dr. Gillespie. Thank you so much. You join us every election night, which I feel like is every week in Georgia. So the big races we're watching, you just heard me mention those. What are the big races you're watching?
I'm watching on the Democratic side the Lieutenant Governor's race, and I'm going to watch the Secretary of State's race. Locally, I'm very interested in the Republican outcomes in the 6th district and in the 10th district. And one that you haven't mentioned here that I am going to pay attention to is the Republican race in the 2nd district down in Southwest Georgia.
So why are you watching that one in particular?
So these are all very interesting runoffs. The 2nd district in particular is now more competitive than it's been in the past. Sanford Bishop has held that seat for 30 years. People think that he's going to have a strong black Republican challenger in a district that's a little bit more favorable to Republicans than it's been in the past. So it's going to be really interesting to see what that November matchup looks like.
Yeah, I did that debate for the Atlanta Press Club, so it was very interesting with those candidates and that history that Sanford Bishop does have down there. We are also seeing an interesting runoff in the 10th district. The Republicans are Mike Collins versus Vernon Jones, and Collins, of course, endorsed by Governor Kemp, Jones endorsed by the former President Donald Trump. 10th district, that has a lot of territory, a lot of ground to cover. It touches 18 counties, and some in East Central Georgia. So will the voters take those endorsements that we've seen into account in making their decision? What are you looking for or thinking that you're going to see there?
Well, I think there's no doubt that Vernon Jones was propelled into the runoff because he had the endorsement of Donald Trump. But Vernon Jones is an embattled candidate and certainly the underdog in this race. He lives in DeKalb County. He used to be a Democrat. He's he's got a really controversial history and a lot of baggage. And so I think the big question is will Donald Trump's endorsement be enough to pull him over the line, or will those other fundamentals that could actually be an albatross on him sink his candidacy? So we'll wait to see what the numbers look like tonight.
Yeah, because the primary, Vernon was behind the other candidates. So a lot to look forward to tonight.
Yes, it's going to be fun.
Another exciting election night. Dr. Gillespie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be tracking the runoff results live tonight in prime time on the WATL and right here on 11 Alive at 11.
We're going to get you to some breaking news right now. Cobb County Police are investigating a triple homicide in Austell, and police say it happened around 12:30 today on Gardner Street. Now, 3 adults were shot to death, and a suspect was taken into custody. Police believe this was a domestic incident. There's no threat to the public here. We'll, of course, keep you updated on the story as soon as we learn more additional details here online and on 11alive.com.
Right now, as we take a live look downtown, temperatures reaching the scorching high 90s today, 95 to be exact in Atlanta, and it's only expected to go up throughout the week. So what are the best ways to prepare for the heat? Some of Metro Atlanta's firefighters are sharing how they stay hydrated and cool during the summer months. It is called pre-hydrating.
With that, so we have to make sure that we have hydrated in advance so that we have more to start with to lose. If we start at a deficit and we start losing water, we're at a great disadvantage.
So think of it like pre-gaming. Drink around 20 ounces of water 2 to 3 hours before getting in the heat, and then 20 minutes before your activity, drink another 20 ounces. Make sure there's a restroom nearby. This requires great timing, so don't overdrink, and remember to include those electrolytes. Lastly, consult your doctor before deciding to pre-hydrate, as medication and prior health conditions could be negatively affected. Chris?
Sheba, that sounds like you have experience with that. When you added in, make sure there's a restroom nearby when you're pre-hydrating there. Good idea. I drink a lot of water too, and it's true. Make sure you've got a restroom nearby. Hey, take a look at what we're expecting as we go through the week. We've been talking about these temperatures coming up this week, and it does look like we'll hit 100 degrees or at least really close to it tomorrow. That will be the first time since 2019, August of 2019, since we've hit the triple digits. The record for tomorrow is 98. So even if we don't hit 100, but we get to 98 or 99, that would tie or break the record for tomorrow's date. And then for the rest of the week, we're thinking we'll hit 98 on Thursday. The record's 99, so we'll be close to a record that day. Friday's record is 99. We're forecasting a high of 95 degrees. But the deal is for Thursday and Friday, even though we'll stay below 100, the humidity levels will come back, so it's going to feel even hotter out there too. So here's a look at your headlines. Heat is continuing to build, but then the humidity returns by the end of the week, and then that translates to the potential for a few of those scattered showers coming back into the forecast for parts of the weekend. We'll talk more about that in the 7-day outlook in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Now, because of those high temperatures out there, Zoo Atlanta will be closing early tomorrow and Thursday. The entry gates will close at 1 p.m. the next 2 days, and the zoo grounds will close at 2:30. So if you are planning to head out for a visit as part of your summer plans, you want to go in the morning to get the most time there. Regular hours will resume Friday with the first Summer Craft Cocktail Series, Savannah Nights, taking place on a Friday night. U.S. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona in Atlanta today. You see him there with Mayor Andre Dickens touring the Martin Luther King Jr. Recreation and Aquatic Center in just the last few hours. The two were there to help celebrate the upcoming anniversary of Title IX. That's the law that expanded opportunities for women and girls in sports and academics back in 1972. Cardona says we have come a long way since then, and he's excited for the work still to be done.
I'm confident that there's just going to be continuous growth, and that we're going to see the fruits of Title IX continue to show here in Atlanta.
And tonight, Cardona will be at State Farm Arena for this year's Skills USA National Leadership and Skills Conference. He's expected to speak during the opening ceremony, which is set to begin at 7.
Today is Ask Day, and if you've never heard of it before, the Asking Saves Kids campaign is urging parents and guardians to ask if there are guns in a home before allowing your children to go on a play date or enter someone's house. Tonight, more details on how to have that conversation.
It is the leading cause of death among children. Between 2019 to 2020, gun deaths jumped nearly 30% for those 1 to 19 years old, according to the latest CDC data. But experts say unintentional shootings can be prevented.
We oftentimes have families who really wish they had this simple conversation.
Dr. Keisha Frazier-Doe with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says that's the focus of Ask Day, where Asking Saves Kids. The Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence reporting that 8 children are hurt or killed in unintentional shootings each day because guns were misused or not properly stored. 46% of gun owners don't lock up their guns.
You should always have it locked up, unloaded, and the ammunition separate from the gun.
Parents are urged to ask other parents whether there are any unsecured guns in the home before allowing their child to go on a play date or babysit for a family. But it can be a tough conversation. So how do you do that? Dr. Doe says use the stats. Share the numbers have you concerned. Explain that you have a curious or impulsive child, so you just want to make sure all guns are secured. And finally, she says, you can put it on your doctor.
Say, my pediatrician says I should ask this question before my child comes over to play. The few moments of awkwardness versus a lifetime of grief, the lifetime of distress and pain is totally worth it.
And a lot more parents are asking this question too. The Brady Center also advises parents to acknowledge the awkward, but don't be confrontational. You can also try asking through clubs at school. Still ahead here, with gas prices sky high, can the time you fill up help cut down on the cost? We'll verify.
And brand new details out of Texas about the response to last month's mass shooting at an elementary school. A closer look at the timeline of the attack and just how long students and teachers had to wait for help. Next.
Trackers. You'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of drive.
Helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and...
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of drive.
Helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question.
New details are coming to light in the mass shooting that killed 19 students and 2 teachers at an elementary school in Texas last month.
The head of the state's Department of Public Safety telling lawmakers today that officers were inside the school and could have confronted the gunman 3 minutes after the shooting started, but did not. Jay Gray was at today's hearing and has the latest on law enforcement's response.
I'd like to observe a moment of silence.
A silence broken.
11:31, the suspect begins shooting at the school.
By a stunning review of the timeline in the deadly attack.
3 minutes after the subject entered the West Building, there were a sufficient number of armed officers wearing body armor to isolate, distract, and neutralize the subject.
3 minutes in, 9 officers with pistols and rifles gathered in the school hallway. This still in.
All right, we had an issue with that story there. We'll try to get it back for you if we can. Meanwhile, parents certainly want to hear this information. The American Academy of Pediatrics is sharing new sleep guidelines for your babies, and this is for the first time in 6 years. The main message here is co-sleeping under any circumstance is not safe. The group says while many parents choose to share a bed to help with breastfeeding or cultural preferences, evidence shows co-sleeping significantly raises your baby's risk of injury or death. Now here's a look at some of the other major updates. The group says to avoid using incline products or crib decorations here. It recommends that parents put babies to sleep alone on a flat, firm mattress with a snug fitted sheet, and instead of a blanket, use a swaddle sack. New at 5, Elon Musk is one step closer to taking over at Twitter. Today, the company's board of directors recommended a vote to approve the sale. The board first agreed to sell the company to Musk for $44 billion back in April. We're told approval could happen in the coming months. Musk still says there are a few unresolved matters related to the deal. Right now, the national average for a gallon of gas is once again back under $5. It's been there for a couple of days now. That's according to AAA. And though prices are still high, that's not stopping many of you from making plans for the 4th of July. AAA is expecting 42 million drivers to hit the road for the upcoming holiday weekend. They also expect a dip in the number of people booking flights, possibly due to rising ticket prices and all the concerns we've been talking with you about, those cancellations and delays. AAA projects more than 3.5 million people will fly, making up just 7% of travelers. That's the lowest number of flyers since 2011.
And we know the cost of gas is guzzling away your hard-earned paycheck. And while we're all looking for ways to save, maybe you've heard to fill your tank early in the morning or late at night when it's cool to cut down on costs. But will that actually keep your tank and your wallet fuller for less? Megan Molleris verifies.
Our sources are Consumer Reports and Gas Buddy head petroleum analyst Patrick DeHaan. It's basic physics. When gas heats up, it expands. So because gas is denser when it's cooler, theoretically, you'll get more energy per gallon if you fill up in the coolest part of the day. That's accurate, but DeHaan explained the change is minuscule.
Gasoline is more dense when it's colder, but a lot of stations temperature correct on both sides, meaning when the air temperature is above or below a certain threshold, their pumps are calibrated to take into consideration the temperature differentials. And by the way, we're talking about, basically the equivalent of very small, drips. This isn't going to be a noticeable thing.
The same is true for morning fill-ups. Consumer Reports tested the theory, pumping in the cool early morning and warm afternoon. At both fill-ups, the first few gallons were notably warmer than the latter ones because the gas had sat in the pump dispenser. But the temperature-controlled gas in the underground tank quickly compensated for those initial gallons. Consumer Reports also concluded a 15-degree difference in air temperature between fill-ups caused only a 1% difference in gas volume.
These pumps are always calibrated by departments of agriculture and weights and measures, so you're not, this is not the way to save more than 10 cents. This is just small peanuts.
We can verify no, filling up in the coolest part of the day, morning or evening, won't save you much money on gas. It's likely not worth chasing costs to fill up at certain times, especially if you are making an extra trip to the gas station.
Plenty of heat out there for today, and we have a little bit of a haze in the sky. We've got the air quality alert in effect not only for, again, late afternoon into early evening tonight, but another one in effect for tomorrow. And you can see, when you're looking over Gwinnett County right now, some blue sky, just a few clouds out there, a little bit of a hazy look to the sky, but the humidity levels really aren't that bad at all. Take a look right now at Truist Park. Braves game happening tonight. Let's take a look at that forecast. It's at 7:20. Giants are playing the Braves. And if you're going, just know it is going to be hot. Again, the good news is it's not that humid. So, yeah, it's going to be hot with temperatures in the 90s, but at least that humidity level won't make you be sweating a lot more. You're going to sweat some, but hopefully not as much as you would when the humidity levels are higher. We'll still be at 90, we're thinking, by 8 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock, generally the mid-80s, and then by 10 o'clock tonight, right around 82 degrees. Mostly clear skies, maybe just a few of those clouds around. Now, speaking of humidity, our dew point is the actual measure of how much humidity and how much moisture is in the atmosphere. And today, it was pretty much in the comfortable level. Tomorrow, we're expecting a high temperature around 100 degrees, but look at the humidity levels on the lower end. Those humidity levels start coming back, though, and that's when it starts feeling more humid Thursday and Friday. A little more of that oppressive humidity here for Saturday and Sunday. And when you see these humidity levels, that's when we're going to go back to the chance for some of those afternoon and evening scattered showers. The blue color here on the moisture map indicates the drier air in place. We have that for today and for tomorrow as well. But on Thursday, look at this. All this moisture comes back into our area. We don't expect rain, but we do expect those humidity levels to be higher and the heat index levels to be higher too. Then, still with some of this humidity sticking with us, on Saturday, we do go back to about a 30% chance for a shower. And then on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week, with this humidity still around, it's still about a 20% chance for some of those afternoon showers to pop up. It's the kind of rain that just pops up with that heat and humidity bubbling up a few of those showers. So the rain chances non-existent through Friday. Even though it's going to start feeling more muggy, we don't think we'll have any showers with that. It's on Saturday, we've got a 30% chance for showers. Sunday, about a 20% chance for showers here in our area. The heat is definitely with us. We've got the hot air in place with us now. That sticks around, again, around 100 degrees tomorrow. And then we're talking about upper 90s for Thursday, Friday, upper to mid 90s. Then into the weekend, we're talking mid 90s. We may see those hotter temperatures relax a little bit as we head into the beginning of next week. By Tuesday, high temperature all the way down to 88, but that's where we should be for this time of year. Kind of sad when we get excited about temperatures cooling off to 88. There you see 92, and then 100, 98, 95, 94 as we continue into that 7-day outlook. In fact, take a look at that. 100 for the high tomorrow, 98 for Thursday, 95 Friday. Holding in the 90s, we're thinking through the rest of the period, except for on Tuesday when we may be at 88 degrees. Dry through the end of the week, but then for the weekend, rain chances back to 30% Saturday, 20% Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Take a look at your weather wow moment for today. This is from Elmar in the Lindbergh area. Thank you so much for sending this to us. Beautiful picture from this morning with just a few of those little clouds that we had around and a nice color of the sky too. Elmar is one of our 11 Alive community storm trackers. You can also be a part of that group. On Facebook, all you do is just search 11 Alive Storm Trackers. You'll find this closed group, but ask to become a member, answer the membership questions. You can be a part of this group where you might see your picture, video, or weather information right here on the Weather Wow Moment.
And we love to see him, Chris. Thank you so much. So to come for you at 5 questions about how a former Atlanta mayor spent $80,000 of taxpayer money. We break down the new report from the city's Inspector General next.
Using 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use near me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest.
We're continuing our coverage tonight on a new report by the City of Atlanta's Inspector General. It claims former Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed spent $80,000 worth of taxpayer money on himself and without City Council approval. John Sherrick takes a look at the purchases in question and what we know so far about the investigation.
Atlanta's Inspector General digging deep into how then Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed got his hands on extra money he wanted, tens of thousands of dollars, so he could pay for a trip to South Africa in 2017 and donate to Howard University as he was leaving office in early 2018 and pay for Cobra health insurance coverage after he left office. Total, more than $80,000. Old allegations with new conclusions. The Inspector General says members of the Reed administration misled the Atlanta City Council and the public on purpose, in effect raiding city accounts to get the extra money Reed wanted for himself. Reed's spokesperson emailed 11 Alive saying the IG's report is inaccurate and grossly misleading, insisting that the $80,000+ was Reed's own money from the pay raise he initially declined but decided later to take. But the Inspector General's report says Reed never took that pay raise, never set the pay raise aside into a special account for the expenditures, as his administration told the City Council he was doing. Instead, the Inspector General says the Reed administration secretly withdrew the money from other city accounts, not from his own account. City Council President Doug Shipman was not in office then, but he will now ask the Council to get to the bottom of it once and for all, to determine the appropriate course of action, given our oversight role, and then decide whether to demand reimbursement from Reed. In Atlanta, John Sherrick, 11 Alive News.
Ahead at 6, holding the powerful accountable. A missing man found dead not even a quarter mile from the medical facility charged with caring for him. His family demanding answers, and we're going to authorities to get them.
Yeah. You end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you
driving.
get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing
We
in.
could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks. 11 Alive News at 6 p.m. starts now.
And right now, the January 6 hearings zeroing in on Georgia election officials. Tonight, we have team coverage from Capitol Hill to here in Atlanta.
Tonight, no air conditioning as temperatures climb higher, while one local apartment complex says they are struggling to fix the issues.
Summer is officially here and it is feeling like it. In fact, we're going to be around 100 degrees for our high tomorrow.
All new tonight, 11 Alive is holding the powerful accountable after a family says a hospital never notified them it was releasing their loved one who suffered from dementia.
5 days later, he was found dead in a wooded area just a quarter mile from Piedmont Noonan Hospital. The family telling our Caitlin Ross that they believe he'd still be alive today if the hospital handled this differently. She joins us now. Caitlin?
I first heard from William Bull's family last Tuesday. They were frantically trying to find him after they say he was unexpectedly released from Piedmont Noonan. His daughter says he suffered from severe dementia and had been brought to the hospital by an ambulance for a mental health evaluation. She says they only learned he had been released when they called to check on him.
He doesn't know who he was. He has dementia. He was not safe.
When she learned he was missing, William Bull's daughter Jennifer asked me to share her dad's picture on social media, hoping someone may have seen him. I posted the flyer after the Coweta County Sheriff's Office issued a Maddie's Call, an emergency alert for missing people who are elderly or disabled. The post was shared hundreds of times, and people organized a search party to look for him.
It was such a broad area. I mean, the woods back there, how many miles?
The Bulls family says the hospital would not release surveillance video to the sheriff's office for 2 days, so they didn't have a lead about where he might have gone after he left the hospital.
If we had found out that day when we told them he was missing and he was missing from there, they could have brought in dogs and it would have been the hot trail.
Then on Saturday, members of a search party sent me a picture of his shoes in the woods just before they found his body in a creek behind the hospital. The family intends to sue the hospital and wants to force it to change its release policy.
To please make sure these people are being released with someone that can take care of them, that are make sure they get home safe, that another family won't be going through the pain that we're feeling.
I asked the hospital today if its policy requires it to notify a family member or caretaker before someone with dementia is released. It would not directly answer that question, instead sending a statement saying, quote, "We extend our sympathies regarding this heartbreaking loss. We will continue to work with the appropriate authorities in any ongoing inquiries."
All right, Caitlin, thank you. Right now, be careful if you are heading outside. We are under an air quality alert right now, and we could see our temperatures break records this week. It is going to be a tough few days. Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb is here with when we could get the bulk of those high temperatures.
Yeah, and it's not just that heat. As you mentioned, we have that air quality alert not only for the next few hours this evening, but it's going to go into effect tomorrow as well, and that's thanks to the heat and the stagnant air mass that we have, and it cooks up some of that ground level ozone, also some particulate matter in the atmosphere as well. So it's a code orange smog alert, meaning it's unhealthy for sensitive groups. If you have issues, respiratory issues that are enhanced by the buildup of ground level ozone, you're definitely going to want to limit your time outside this evening and then also tomorrow, and just limit that outdoor exertion. Temperatures right now, 95 degrees. That is the high temperature so far for the day. 97 though in Athens. Rome, you're also at 97 degrees, but the humidity levels are low. So these temperatures in the mid and upper 90s feel like the mid and upper 90s rather than feeling like it's over 100 degrees. We're going to stay in the 90s through the 8 o'clock hour and then fall into the 80s. We'll go down into the lower 70s and upper 60s here by tomorrow morning, but the humidity levels will be coming back as we still have some high temperatures around, so the heat index goes up and our rain chances eventually go up too. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. You know, this heat has been especially brutal for people without AC. Latasha Givens spent the day at a Roswell apartment complex trying to get residents an answer on when the problem could be fixed.
We're outside this Roswell apartment complex where several residents say they've been living without working AC units for several weeks now. They say it is so hot at times, they wake up drenched in sweat. The air conditioning couldn't have gone out at a worse time for residents at this Roswell apartment complex as temperatures reached the upper 90s for the last 2 weeks.
It's horrible. Especially with the children the way that it is, and then the older folks as older as I am too, you have to have something at nighttime to keep you cool.
Residents say dozens of units are still without working ACs. In a statement sent to 11 Alive, the property manager says it's dealing with a mass number of units without working air conditioning units. And they've been working to give out portable units and install window units. But the manager tells us delivery delays have slowed them down. It's important to note Georgia law does not require landlords to provide tenants with air conditioning. But if they do, they are responsible for keeping it in working order. If your unit breaks and they don't make a repair in a reasonable time, you should file a lawsuit. A judge could make the landlord pay for injuries if they had notice of the problem and failed to fix the issue, and if someone was hurt as a result. However, renters should keep paying rent even if repairs aren't being made. If you stop, the landlord can begin the process to evict you. In Roswell, Latasha Givens, 11 Alive News.
As the temperatures rise, we're here to help you stay weather aware. Be sure to download the 11 Alive app. It's free, and it'll give you our radar forecast and alerts right in the palm of your hand. Just point your phone's camera at the screen right there, and it'll take you straight to the App Store.
We have breaking news now. Cobb County Police just revealing an hour ago they are investigating after finding 3 people shot to death at a home in Austell. This happened around 12:30 this afternoon on Gardner Street. Investigators could be seen in the area as 11 Alive Sky Tracker firecracker flew over. Officers tell us it was a domestic incident and a suspect is now in custody. The names of the victims have not yet been released. We'll let you know as soon as we get more details. Tonight, for the first time, we're hearing from a Fulton County election official who says she got racially charged death threats after former President Trump accused her of trying to add illegal votes. 11 Alive's Doug Richards is walking us through what her testimony before a congressional committee happened late this afternoon.
Jeff, the woman and her mother had both signed on with Fulton County to help handle tabulation of the 2020 election. Shaye Moss appeared before the January 6th panel to describe how she and her mother spent weeks under fire from former President Trump and many of his backers.
Ruby Freeman and Shaye Freeman Moss and one other gentleman quite obviously surreptitiously passing around USB ports.
The women were seen on video during a vote count in Fulton County, passing something to each other, according to Trump backers, advancing unfounded conspiracy theories.
What was your mom actually handing you on that video?
A ginger mint.
Freeman's mother recorded an interview with the committee.
Do you know how it feels to have the President of the United States to target you? A lot of threats, wishing death upon me, telling me that, I'll be in jail with my mother, and saying things like, be glad it's 2020 and not 1920.
And that was a reference to Jim Crow-style justice. The congressional panel is investigating the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. Its findings could produce ammunition for more criminal prosecutions, Jeff.
All right, Doug, thanks. The other key testimony today coming from Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and his top election officer Gabriel Sterling. Both testified under oath about the threats they received after refusing Mr. Trump's demands to swing Georgia's votes to him after he lost.
My wife started getting the text, and hers typically came in as sexualized texts, which were disgusting. They started going after her, I think, just to probably put pressure on me. Why don't you just quit, walk away? And so that happened. And then some people broke into my daughter-in-law's home.
Our Ariana Manise is in Washington, D.C. tonight, and you have been tracking down local lawmakers to get their take on the very latest hearing.
Well, Jeff, I spent the day reaching out to several Georgia representatives to talk to them about today's testimony. Within the last couple of hours, I spoke to Congressman Buddy Carter. Now, he tells me he does not agree with the work of the January 6th House Select Committee or the series of public hearings. Now, he would not comment directly on the testimony from Secretary of State Raffensperger or Gabriel Sterling. But when I asked him his reaction to Georgia being a main theme of the committee's work, he had this to say.
The only thing I have to say is that this is an illegitimate committee that doesn't have proper Republican representation, that it's nothing more than a theatrical witch hunt that's been produced and provided by the Democrats for primetime TV. It's totally ridiculous.
Representative Carter did go on to say that he does condemn the actions that took place here on Capitol Hill on January 6th. I was there when Representative Adam Schiff, who's a member of the committee, when he spoke to reporters, and he says that Raffensperger and Sterling's testimony, what they showed today, was that any ties to Georgia, that they were simply false. Back to you.
After record turnout for the primary election, a much smaller showing for the runoffs. Just a few voters could be seen trickling into Morningside Elementary this morning to vote. We are less than an hour away from the polls closing across the state. And despite lower turnout, today's runoff will shape several key races, including U.S. House District 2, which is in the southwestern part of the state. We spoke with 11 Alive political analyst Wandrea Gillespie just about 30 minutes ago, and here's her take on why that race in particular is one she's keeping an eye on.
The second district in particular is now more competitive than it's been in the past. Sanford Bishop has held that seat for 30 years. People think that he's going to have a strong black Republican challenger in a district that's a little bit more favorable to Republicans than it's been in the past. So it's going to be really interesting to see what that November matchup looks like.
And while this race is for Republicans, the runoffs are mostly for Democratic candidates. Republicans managed to settle most of their state races during the primary. Democrats will have to hash out candidates for Secretary of State, Lieutenant Governor, Insurance Commissioner, and Labor Commissioner. And we have an in-depth breakdown of the runoff, what we can expect in November on our website, 11alive.com. And don't forget to tune in tonight on the ATL and 11 Alive News at 11 p.m. for all your election results.
The city of Atlanta cracking down on crime, and you can help. What police need from you to keep criminals at bay.
Snap it and using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11...
The parents of a teenage girl demanding a new trial for her tonight after she was sentenced to 140 years in connection with a deadly shooting. A jury finding 18-year-old Demia Mitchell guilty of a dozen charges, including manslaughter, aggravated assault, and a host of gang charges. Police say in February of last year, Mitchell and several others got into a fight at a home on Mountain Ash Court in Decula, that's in Gwinnett County. The argument ended in gunfire, and 20-year-old Faith Burns was killed. Warrants state that Mitchell was associated with the criminal street gang 9 Trey Gangster Bloods, but Mitchell's parents argue she wasn't in a gang, and they're asking for her sentence to be reduced.
You're saying you will never see the daylight ever again in your life. They want my baby to die in jail for something that's false and bogus.
Mitchell's family protested outside the Gwinnett County Justice Center today, and they plan to do so again on Friday. We reached out to the victim's family to get their reaction to the 140-year sentence here, and so far we have not heard back. The 4 other defendants in this case pleaded guilty to their charges today.
Atlanta continues to tighten its grip on surging crimes, and now they are asking for your help. The city wants to expand its Connect surveillance system. All you need to do is register your home or business security camera cameras with the network. The program began in January and since then has collected nearly 8,700 cameras. Police tell us the camera network already helped them with 3 major cases, including the death of 6-month-old Grayson Fleming Gray. Cameras helped them catch the suspect DeQuasse Little within 24 hours.
If it were not for the cameras, all we'd have gone out there and done is collect shell casings, and we wouldn't really have a clue about what happened because nobody stayed on scene. They were all gone. So the video cameras made it possible for us to identify everybody.
The technology also allows officers to pull up footage on their cell phones from inside their squad cars before they even get to the scene. And that helps save them with time gathering evidence. Registering your camera is all free.
New at 6, another sign Atlanta's housing market is cooling off. Bidding wars are on the decline. Just around 50% of metro homes got multiple offers. That's according to a new report from Redfin. In a typical market, that's a lot. But for perspective here, that's the lowest number we've seen in this area since March of last year. However, many homes are still selling above list price. That tide could turn as well as the interest rate hikes begin to really settle in. Another repeat of last week with temperatures climbing even higher, and now we've got an air quality alert as well. Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb joining us now to fill us in. Chris?
Yeah, that heat helps to build up the ground level ozone, and that's why we have that air quality alert for the rest of tonight during the evening hours, and then it goes into effect again tomorrow too. You can see what we're watching here in Athens. You know, we have a few clouds around, some blue sky, a little bit of a haze there, and when you look at Truist Park, you can see that things are relatively quiet here. We don't have any rain around, but there is plenty of heat, and there is a game out there for tonight. So if you are going, I hope you're ready for some heat, but at least the humidity isn't that bad. Here's a look at the forecast for tonight. Game starts at 7:20. Temperature at 7 o'clock is most likely going to still be in the 90s at 93. We will still most likely be in the 90s at 8 o'clock too, then falling into the mid 80s at the 9 o'clock hour, and then 82 at 10 o'clock. But again, the humidity level's not that bad. So yeah, you're going to sweat, but not sweat as much as you would have last week when we had all of that humidity around. Now we've got some record heat possible. Tomorrow, we're going with a forecast for 100 degrees. This will be the first time since 2019, in August of 2019, that we actually hit 100 degrees. The record for tomorrow's date is 98. So even if we don't hit 100, if we get to 98, we would tie the record. 99 would break the record. Now we'll be close to a record on Thursday. We're going with 98 for a high Thursday. The record is 99. 95 is our forecast for Friday, but the record is 99, so those would be close. Now, the thing that's going to be different, though, for Thursday and Friday, the humidity levels are going to come back, so the heat index is going to become more of an issue, and it's going to feel even hotter. Right now, 95 here, 97 in Athens and in Rome. We've got 93 in Dalton, so plenty of heat all around. And through the evening hours tonight, we are going to stay mild, and then tomorrow, starting off at 70. Look how quickly those temperatures rise during the day. 84 at 9, 92 at 11 o'clock, and then 96 at 1 o'clock. And there you see us topping off at 100 in the afternoon. Still plenty of sunshine around. We don't expect any rain tomorrow, but we're just going to go with an 8 on the wazometer. That's our scale from 1 to 11, where an 11 is a perfect day. Now, this is where we're going to see some changes coming in. Tomorrow, again, mainly the heat is going to be the issue. Mostly sunny skies, no real clouds, no real rain or anything coming into our area. Even with those high temperatures, we just don't have enough moisture to bubble up any of those afternoon storms. Thursday, though, the humidity levels come back. We think we'll be dry here in the Atlanta area on Thursday, but there may be some spots outside the city that actually pick up a few showers. And then as we see a little more moisture building in once we get to the weekend, that's when we'll see the rain chances coming back up. Not going to be huge rain chances. We're just talking about scattered showers coming back into the forecast. So 100 for the high tomorrow, 98 Thursday, 95 on Friday, with skies becoming partly cloudy with that humidity level coming up Thursday and Friday. There's that rain chance for Saturday at 30%, and then we'll hold on to a 20% chance for showers Sunday and Monday with highs in the mid-90s. Maybe moving all the way back down to 88 degrees on Tuesday, which that's where we should be for this time of year with highs in the upper 80s.
Braves hoping to keep rolling tonight, and a big part of their reason for success has been the man behind the plate. We are taking a look at Travis d'Arnaud's success right after the break.
11 Alive News at 11. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive